And we are starting the live show as we're coming to Learn the Tech. And let's try it out here. See if there's any funky artifacts, because that's pretty much always what happens. And yep, there seems to be funky artifacts. I'm just gonna check it out here. Yep, it is funky artifacts. It looks like, I don't know, I'm some kind of future show or something. So it means that pretty much every time I start a show, so at least I'll know that it's an interlace type problem. So hey, here we are. Hey everyone, nice to have everybody on board. We're on direct. I'm just going to check to make sure that all is okay. Now I understand that maybe the screen is a little bright, but it should be okay. Looks cool. So hey everyone, welcome to this live show. This is our Learn the Tech. We are at show number 20. Show number 20. Incredible. And today we're going to talk about, you know what, I gotta be honest. It won't be as researched as last week's show about Apple computers. I had a little less time, but I put a little something up with social media and how also technology changed a little bit of the world in the modern times. We're not going to go from, technology. We could go far in time. We could talk about how technology changed the world with radio. When radio appeared, it was pretty amazing. It was something incredible. When TV appeared, wow, that really changed the way people had their news, people had information. For the first time, we could have information in a short delay. And TV and radio really changed the way that people consumed their information. But you know what? We're going to be a little more modern in this video, in this show here, where we're going to talk about modern types of ways that we interact with each other. And if I had a little more time, I probably would have added radio, TV, all of that, which really was something. So this is Learn the Tech. This is the show number 21. For September 13. I think I said show number 20 in the description. I'm going to change the title, but show 21. We're September 13th. This show is every week on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 2200 hours UTC. We talk about a subject that you want me to talk about. So it's pretty cool. And technology. Today, man, the internet is incredible. With the internet today, you have access to so much information. The people that just didn't know anything about anything can now just Google about whatever subject. And basically, it turns us into something that's interesting. People that are more knowledgeable about all sorts of events, all sorts of, subjects. Now, then again, there's a bad side to it. It also can be interpreted in a way that is not necessarily super cool. I gotta say, when I look at my Facebook wall, I've got 200 and something friends. And by the way, I'm sorry guys, but I have a beer tonight. So I'm just having a little beer while doing Learn the Tech. By the way, somebody asked me the other day, do you have a beer when you do the tech show? At 3 p.m., no, I don't. I usually have only water or juice. So like this afternoon, I had some flavored water with, like a quarter juice, pineapple juice and water for the rest of it. But Learn the Tech, I have a beer, like in the radio shows. So cheers, everyone. So basically, The bad side is that people interpret things in their own way. It created something new. It created everybody has an opinion about everything. It just doesn't mean that the opinion is right. It doesn't mean that the opinion is okay. And I gotta say that when I look at my Facebook wall with my 200 and something friends, sometimes I want to unfriend. Sometimes I want to just scrap everything. And it's like, okay, I don't want Facebook anymore. It's just getting mad. I'm getting me mad. But everybody has an opinion about something. And that's how technology is changing the way that we see things. I mean, it's incredible. Today, people are connected like never before. Never before. Basically, the internet and social media is changing not only the way we interact, but changing the fact that people that you communicated with maybe once a month, once a week, 2 or 3 times a year, now you communicate with every week, every day. I mean, I have a lot of clients, a lot of people that tell me, you know what, I think technology isn't cool because it makes people more isolated and they don't do things together as much. And I kind of always tend to disagree. And the reason why, I take my own personal life. Before computers made my family available, made my friends available immediately, I'm not the kind of guy that was a caller. I'm not the kind of guy that picks up the phone and says, hey, how you doing? I don't like that. I'm only calling someone. You know, I'm the real typical guy on that. It's that picking up the phone, calling someone was never and is still not my bag. And I even tell people sometimes, you know, I'm a bad friend because I never call. But you know what? Technology has changed all of that. It turned me into somebody that has access to everybody all the time. My own family, my own family that I probably communicated with twice a year. You know, it was almost like I would see my sisters and brother, more my sisters, like, you know, 2 or 3 times a year, and it would be like Christmas, Easter, maybe sometime in the summer, something like that. And then suddenly computers there, technology's there, communication's there, and now I speak to my sister regularly. I speak to my friends regularly. We have opinions, we interact with each other. It's just incredible. Technology has changed dramatically. It's funny because when you think about it, take a 20-something-year-old or even, you know, like a teenager today. Try to imagine, you know, for people, I'm 47 years old, and try to imagine when I was a teenager, the only way I was communicating with my friends was I would see them in school, or we would call each other on the phone, pretty much. And apart from maybe 2 of my friends that were really close, I can't say that I called a lot of people, and I can't say that we would see necessarily each other after school all the time. And now these same, you know, imagine the teenagers today. The teenagers today have no idea what it is to not be in contact with everyone, every friend, all the time. And there's no phone involved. You know, the phone call, I'm a guy from the phone call era. Phone calls are not there anymore. And you know what? Maybe that's why communication is better. You know what? I was not a phone call guy, but I got to say, I'm not bad of a let's text guy, or, you know, let's Facebook Messenger guy, or I tend to communicate more through that technology. It's interesting how it changes, you know, with the psychology that goes with it and everything. It's like, wow, okay. Changed me. It changed the way that I do things. So, long time ago, this was how people got news. Newspaper. You'd go out, you'd get a newspaper, you'd listen to the radio, you'd watch TV. The newspaper was always, the news from a few days ago, and, it hasn't changed that much. It's a little less time related, but it's still, it's yesterday's news. You get the newspaper, it's yesterday's news. You go to the internet, it's what happened, 5 minutes ago. Something happens in the world. We all know it now. We know it almost as it's happened. It's almost direct. All that's missing would be like there's live cameras everywhere around the world, and man, we're there. Hey, big earthquake here. Let's look at the camera. If it's still working in an earthquake situation, but for a long time we got our news with this: newspapers, radios, TV. Even radio and TV wasn't until recently that live. Up to the 90s, TV was like, something's happening, you'll know it in an hour's time. Until more and more live TV happened. More and more channels happened with live stuff. So, that's one of the things that we're consuming more. Now, you're wondering, a church, what's that? You know what? In the old times, people would the social side of people would be going to church at events around town where, especially in the small villages, people would just, meet somewhere and talk together. And, that's where the social stuff would be. That's where you'd learn that, Uncle Gary is apparently is in jail. Did anybody know that? He's been in jail for the past 6 months, apparently, and nobody knew about it. And, for a long time, that's pretty much how it was talked about, Pretty cool. So cheers, everyone. Sorry about the beer. I know maybe some people don't like this, but, feels good to do the show and have a little bit of beer. So, for a long time, this is how people just meet each other. And then came this beast, the computer. But the computer at the beginning, it's far from I'm communicating with friends. When the computer started in the, to be a little popular, late 70s, early 80s, I had a Commodore VIC-20, a Commodore 64, Commodore 128. I had an Amiga. I had a PC. I had so many computers. This is a Tandy Radio Shack, a TRS-80 that maybe some of you that are older or in my age group, I would say, might have had back then. But you know what? When this started, we could do things. We could use programs. And we could, just be lonely in our basement and have fun with technology. But it was a lonely thing, and there was no real side to it that was social in any way. If, there was one thing, it was not even social. It was almost anti-social because, hey, I'm going to go in my room and play with a computer alone. And so, for a long time, computers were not really the social thing. It was kind of geeky. You're in your room, you're alone, you're doing that, watching TV. That's for the most part, a lot of people. I remember when I was a teenager, I would have my computer. I'd play with a computer. I'd be crazy. I'd love my computer. And I had a TV. So I just had the computer and watch the TV, and that's it. There's no interaction. Of course, I'd bring friends over that would want to see the computer, but, there's nothing social about it. But then, things changed. Something called the modem became a little more popular. The modem helped people connect their computer to another computer. And that changes suddenly what computers are all about. The BBS scene, for those that are my age, once again, some of you are young, some of you are probably watching and really young and are like, what the hell is that? A BBS? Yeah, a bulletin board system. We're in the 80s, and I can tell you one thing. I had a modem, and I was on a lot of BBSs. And on the BBSs, the bulletin board system, what happened is that now we started to get social on computers. But the social side on BBS was different than today. Today, I text somebody, I Facebook message someone. He's got it now. Just before the show, for example, a friend of mine says, hey, iOS 10 is out today. Have you installed it on your iPhone? And I just replied, instantly. Oh, it's installing right now. And it is right now installing on my iPhone. So, it's instantaneous. But in the BBS time, it's kind of a little bit different. So basically, you would have access to a BBS, and you'd have what's called message boards, and you'd post on a message board a message, and then you'd log off, because it was for most BBSs, it was one user at a time, and once you log out, then another user would log in and would see your message, and often the people to whom you would be talking to would basically see your message several hours, if not a day or two, after you have done your message. But the social side starts to appear, because what the BBS scene actually brings up is GTs. What are GTs, you might ask? They are get-togethers. And that was social. And that I've participated in so many get-togethers. I remember one of the most popular BBSs that I was here in Montreal was called the Car Enterprise BBS. It was the one that I liked the most, because the people there, I created links with people there, and we would go to a pub called the Peel Pub downtown, and we would meet there every Friday evening. And at some point, it was really a weekly thing. Every Friday evening, we would be at the Peel Pub, would have beer, would play, some geek games, of course, geek drinking games, and we would see each other, interact with each other, and have a lot of fun. And that basically is the beginning of the social side of computers, of technology. Apart from the telephone, the TV and news and like radio doesn't have, it's more of a lonely thing. It's not a social thing. This is a social thing. You're on a BBS, you're talking with people, and you're doing GTs, so get-togethers, and you're having fun. And that's pretty much, thanks to the modem, that's the start of how, people get online. Another thing, America Online, AOL. If you're old enough, you probably remember these millions of CDs, and if you're older, even discs of installing AOL, America Online, on your PC to connect with their 90-day or 30-day trials of free internet connection or free connection to their network. Because before the internet, it was an online presence. But once again, it's a way of communicating together. It's, once again, close to the BBS, not totally, it's not real time. It's we post messages and we kind of have answers a few hours or days afterwards. So, it's still the beginning of how we interact together. But, I don't think nobody. When I got into BBSs, I had a modem and everything. I could see how, computers could communicate together. As time grew by, I could see that, modems were getting faster, so we would get more and more out of this. But to the point where, I would be basically wearing a device like this that everybody will communicate with me at real time, that I have with me everywhere, we're not there yet, okay? We're really not there yet, and I'm not at all thinking that that's the future. I can't even foresee the future. But when we're getting here, like America Online and so on, something is happening that is brewing, and it's the beginnings of the internet as we know it today. The foundation of what the communications are today are being founded and are going to change even more the face of technology. Sorry, I'm going to take another sip because I kind of swallowed my own. Okay, for the last few days I had a few problems with my throat. So as America Online is there, foundations for the internet are there. But the thing is, it's far from being what we have today, and we're not there yet. That's for sure. And there are things like CompuServe. That's another thing that was popular back then. CompuServe was one of those services that was advertised a lot, and that one goes back to the late 80s. It's the beginnings of what it looks like, what information you have, but most of that is static. A lot of the CompuServe, AOL, the things that you have at the beginning is static stuff. It's databases that are already there and that people are looking at, that are stored in hard drives, but it's not like Googling something and finding out from a website in China or in Finland or whatever. It's very, very different. It's big databases of information basically. And the internet, the interconnectivity in the internet, that's what starts to really, really push the interesting side of social media, of the social side of what is the human mind, basically. While we are still in the era of BBSs and still in the era of really basic communications, the internet is starting to build, and at first, of course, it's to the beginnings, the military. It becomes eventually universities. But at some point, somebody says, look, this thing is so big, it's going to be everybody. We got to leave and make this access available to everyone because it's just huge. This is going to change forever the face of the planet. And when this is happening in the 90s, we have no ideas. Nobody has an idea of what's happening. Nobody has an idea that this is going to be that thing, and this is going to change forever the way we communicate with each other. So we get to a point where we start accessing the internet. There's, we get Windows 95 for PCs, Mac computers connect to the web. We still have these big clunky computers with big screens, CRTs. But you know what? We're starting to log on and we're starting to use the internet, and we're starting to find that there's a lot of stuff there. Of course, there's still the sides of bulletin board style, and where you can post messages and people answer. But one of the things that's going to change the face forever is instant messaging. One example, ICQ. Hey, I remember the first time I got to ICQ with that. Okay, just that noise that I made. If you ever were an ICQ member, you know what this is. This was the first, for me, it was the first time that I had a live messaging system where I communicated with somebody. And on ICQ, the first person that I connected with was one of my sisters. Unfortunately, it's one of my sisters that passed away a few years ago. And basically, we were on ICQ. Back then, when ICQ started, I was starting to get things running on being a tech guy and all of that. I had changed my computer, and I had an old computer. And my sister at the time was like passionate. It was like, oh, I want to have a computer. But you know, computers in late 90s were like $2,000, and they were expensive. So when I changed for an HP in about 1999, I had a Pentium 166, and I said, hey, you want it? It had Windows 98 on it. And she said, of course I want it. And she connected to the internet, and we were connecting through, in her case, she was connecting through telephone modems still. In my case, I was on a 1 megabit high-speed internet. That was a very high-speed internet for 1999. And we were connected through this, and I mean, I was amazed. Through this, finally, we are communicating live. Man, this is happening in real time. I am sending you a little text, a little something. You are there at the other end. You're answering me now. And we would leave this all the time turned on. So, I remember coming home from work, sitting at the computer, and seeing that little pop-up, hey, your sister's on. It's like, oh, cool, we're going to talk together tonight. Having a lot of fun with that. I mean, this was a revolution. I mean, there were different services, but ICQ was one. For me, ICQ is the revolution of talking live to somebody. It was just incredible. There were different versions. There were different things, ICQ first. For those that are on Windows for a long time, look at that. MSN Messenger, which was the Messenger changed to Windows Live at some point, but this was MSN Messenger. That was the next thing. It was still pretty much the same as, being in a live feed, in a live chat with people. It was like, you would talk to your friends, everybody, at some point, I remember everybody would say, hey, are you on Messenger? Are you on Messenger? Oh yeah, I'm on Messenger. And people would add, everybody wanted to be on your Messenger because everybody wanted to have the possibility to chat with you. And then when you're online and the interaction, suddenly, with those instant messaging programs, you know what? We got from a point where I would talk to someone and get a reply in an hour or a day to I talk to someone almost as if that person is here in the same room. But that person can be at the other side of the world. I remember when I started being a tech guy, I had a lot of jobs, tech jobs with students. And we have a program here in some of the universities here have a program where they do exchanges with students from other countries. And I remember fixing problems with computers of people, in France that came here from France or from the UK, from, all over Europe. And they would say, you know what, my computer has to work because this is my link to talking with my parents every night. This is my link with keeping my contact with my friends, even though I'm 1,000 or several thousand miles away. And that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. You would see the importance of this suddenly changes everything. So there were others, I mean, some of you will probably say, oh, I was on this, I was on that other chat program. Another one that comes to mind, I remember one of the things that blew my mind was the IRC network. It still exists today, by the way. If you get an IRC client, you can go on the IRC network and try to and connect. There's still gazillions of people using IRC to communicate together. IRC was what's called the Internet Relay Chat. It was a section of the internet. And it was mostly text-based, but you could create channels, and you could, suddenly you could create something that was going to be with you, with what you want. So, I remember starting out with, Montreal IRC to get the people from town. Then I would like, oh, let's check the Canada IRC. Now you talk with people all around the country. Then you'd like, what else can I do? And I started thinking about all sorts of names on the IRC channels that would attract people. I remember fondly one of the things around the year 2000. I remember distinctly being I was at home on a New Year's Eve. And I remember nothing special on the New Year's Eve was happening. And I remember being on an IRC network, chatting with a guy in Norway. He was already in the new year, but being amazed at, wow, such distance, and we're still live. We're talking live. I mean, I'm just typing something, he's getting it almost immediately. And I remember that was so amazing. And I was amazed at all that technology. I was amazed at, I'm still amazed today at all that technology. Another thing that changed the face of our communications and how we can interact, and this one is also one that's almost instantaneous. The only thing people regarded more like our mailbox. Every home, I guess where you live, there's a mailbox. I got a mailbox, and they put, some people have little boxes that they have to go to with to get their mail, but we have a mailbox, and we can send a letter throughout the world, but it's long. Letters take days, if not weeks, to cross the ocean. But you know what? Something called email arrived. And it's funny because email changes so much the face of how we communicate that here in Canada, right now, we're in a big discussion with Canada Post. Canada Post is a government-owned business, basically, where they are distributing the mail to us. And you know what? Email has completely destroyed the regular mail system. So they're talking here about all sorts of changes to the way we'll receive mail. We won't receive it here in Montreal because a lot of you in the world actually are not like that. But here, I've got the privilege of having the postman put the mail in my mailbox right here where I live. So, in the morning I can just go down the 3 stairs, get my mail, and that's it. And they are changing that. They are thinking, because of the low volume of mail, they want to change that to, going to have little boxes somewhere, and you're going to get your mail in the little boxes, and you're going to have to walk there. And that's something that's new for us because it wasn't like this here. And it's partly due to email. Email, for the first time, you could have your personal email address. You could have something that's extremely personal. I mean, you could create your email. When you would subscribe to the internet, you'd get an email address. People would go crazy. It's like, hey, I've got an email. This is so cool. And then you had all sorts of services like, Google with the Gmail. I remember I was so happy because I had an email from my internet service provider back in the 90s. But I remember when I opened my first Yahoo mail, it's like, oh yeah, freedom from my ISP. I have an email that if I change ISP, I keep. And that was cool. This is another way we communicate that changes a lot. Not only did people start using some emails to send each other all sorts of things, messages, also people would send attachments, because email was cool. You could send attachments. So you could send, those PowerPoint presentations that a lot of my clients went crazy with because a lot of people sent too many of them. You had your personal email, and you could read, you could answer. It's so fast that, if you're at the computer, well, somebody on the other side of the world is sending you an email. You got it right now, and you answer, and it's almost instantaneously. It's just amazing. So email, great way, personal way of communicating together. changes the face of the earth, because now we communicate through the world like this in a very fast pace. You want to know something? Imagine businesses that would send letters, businesses that would send catalogs. Hey, we can send you a catalog through here and you got it now. We can send you, information for the business side through here, instantaneous. And the best thing about email is, if you sent, 15,000 catalogs, the price of the mail and everything, the price of the catalog itself, the paper. Now you're here, you're sending a PDF or a electronic version of that catalog. So you pay for the creation of it, but after that, it doesn't cost anything. And email, it's included. You've got internet. Well, it doesn't cost you more to send email. A little story behind email, by the way, because a lot of people don't know this, but when the internet started getting hold and people got on the internet, there was a resolution, and a few companies and a few internet service providers wanted to do, let's make people pay an amount for each email they sent. And I'm very serious here. And they were thinking, well, we could charge 5, 10, 15, 25 cents for every email sent. But it never got on. You know why? Because some ISP said, hey, if they charge for email, I'm not going to charge for email. People are going to come to my service, internet service provider. That's why I love competition, by the way. Because competition made it, no, are you crazy? That's not the way it works. Another thing about paid email that happened, and that one came from Microsoft, by the way. Microsoft had issued an idea at some point that there's a lot of spam, okay? Because when email started, the bad guys immediately saw, oh my God, we can send our crap everywhere around the world, and it doesn't cost a thing, and we'll get people to pay us, and we're gonna make millions. And yes, it did happen. Microsoft and Bill Gates had sent an idea that, why don't we charge 5 cents for sending emails? And the idea behind this was, if we charge for emails, well, spam's going to stop, because everybody's going to say, well, I'm not going to send a million emails at 5 cents because it's not worth it, and I'm going to lose money instead of, making money by stealing people. Once again, that never caught up, because one of the biggest problems that happened when that idea came through is that people were used to free email. And, I say free because you have to have the internet. And a lot of people were thinking, I'm paying for the internet. Email is included in here. I'm sorry, I'm not paying an extra for emails that I'm sending, or I'm not paying. That never came through because of that. And, for that idea to have worked, you got to think that people would have had to charge 5 cents everywhere around the world, which was an impossible task anyways. So, these are interesting little stories about email that people don't know, that we came close to the fact that we could have been charged for email, and we're talking in the early 2000s. And we came close to maybe charge for emails because of spam. And, to give you numbers also about email, 95% of all the emails that are sent through the world are spam. They're junk mail. Only 5% are real, authentic emails. And thank God today for our junk filters that just filter all of that out, because, man, that would have been today, something bad. And I remember when those filters weren't there, we'd have a lot of junk at some point through the real mail that we've had, Viagra stuff, and how to get your penis, enlarge your penis. Yes, our little trick is going to do it. Now, one of the things that comes true, Facebook appears at some point. Facebook, the idea behind Facebook, there's the, for those that have seen the movie of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, that movie's got it all wrong. It's like the Steve Jobs movies. I gotta say, the half of the movie is crap, and everything they do is rather wrong. And you know what? No Steve Jobs movie is a good movie, and the Mark Zuckerberg Facebook movie is horrible. It doesn't have the facts right, and it doesn't really say the things right. Mark Zuckerberg creates Facebook, and it's not to meet women, because the movie, that's pretty much what the movie says. He's lonely and he wants to meet women. That's not the thing at all. When Mark Zuckerberg thinks of Facebook, he's thinking of a way of having an easy access to his friend network, having everybody in some kind of network where they can interact easily and fast. And that is the real reason behind Facebook. But he doesn't know back then that idea that he's got is amazing. He doesn't know that he's going to be a billionaire thanks to a simple idea. And, he gets help and creates this. And Facebook changes forever. Forever. And once again, in a major way. Already, all the things that I've told until now, they've changed in a major way the way we communicate. But Facebook, once again, just scrambles everything. A new way to communicate. But that time, it's even worse. In the past, it was okay. You could communicate with your friends, your family, if you knew them. But it wasn't really easy to find somebody or know if somebody's online or anything. We couldn't find anything. But Facebook, the idea behind it is you've got a long lost friend. I wonder if he's on Facebook. And Facebook, of course, because of the name, shows you that this is a network where you could see that person. Facebook, as its name, very simple. They want your face. Some people don't put your face. And by the way, two things that you need to know about your Facebook account. If it's not your face in the picture, it's already an account that people could tag and can be removed from Facebook. And if it's not your real name, another reason why they could, if they want, remove you. And actually, I have a friend of mine that has problems with that right now because he isn't using his real name. And for many years, nothing happened. But recently, they want him to change his name. They want him to change everything. It's really, really complex. So Facebook suddenly not only puts your friends and family together, it creates an ecosystem where you can find people that you knew in the past. You could find all sorts of people that you encountered through your life. And you know what? Facebook is amazing for that. Putting and connecting people together is an amazing site for that. I created, with the help of my friends, a few of my friends, the 25th anniversary of my high school, of the end of the high school. I ended high school in 1986. And we did 25 years of that. Sorry, guys. In 2011. And Facebook helped me and my friends find at least 50% of my high school, all the high school friends and people that were there in the same year as I was. And it's pretty amazing. I mean, the amount of information, the amount of people that are on Facebook is astounding. Also, Facebook created something new. You have your profile, you have your thinking. You now can say what you think about everything. You now can become an expert, on every subject around the world. And Facebook changed not only the way we communicate, it changes now the way that we actually interact in what's happening in world events, in governments, in everything around us. It's become an extremely powerful tool for people to complain about things. It also has its negative side. The amount of false information sent through Facebook is amazing. I try as a tech guy to kind of tell people, you know what? Before posting something, can you just go on the internet and verify if it's true or not? Just before you do it. I think it's a good idea because there's too much false information. One that I saw the other day was that crystal clear, what was it? It was a kind of a spider or something that was like crystal clear that was in water, and that you should stop buying this brand of bottled water because that was inside and you couldn't see it because it was transparent. Come on, people, okay? You gotta check your facts. You know what? One of the things that amazes me that I'm still thinking, why hasn't anybody done this yet? I always thought that somebody someday will get sued for giving out information, false information about a company that's going to just be so mad and going to say, okay, we're suing. I'm going to sue everybody that's, and I'm surprised that nobody has done that yet because it's just incredible. So Facebook changes everything. It changes the way we interact, but it now gives a voice to everybody. It gives a voice. So if you've got a lot of friends, if you voice your frustration about something, everybody knows about it. You voice your happiness about something, everybody knows about it. Pretty amazing when you think about it. Because before, nobody knew what you thought unless they would meet you, and then word of mouth would go. It's like, oh, Sue Ellen, she thinks that this is bad. Brandon or Mark, he thinks, they think that shouldn't go through. It was a slow process. But now it's fast because you've got 300 friends and it's like you're going to say, I hate Donald Trump. And everybody knows, okay, he hates Donald Trump or she hates Donald Trump. I hate Hillary Clinton. Oh, I hate Hillary Clinton. It's rather fast now. And everybody has an opinion. These devices are amazing for another thing. That's also another breakthrough. We got Facebook. We've got all of these Twitter. We've got Twitter that is that website where lots of information in almost real time. Today, a real journalist doesn't watch the news, doesn't watch newspapers or wait for somebody to tell him news. He just goes through Twitter and looks at the feeds on Twitter because that's everybody and everywhere. Everything is happening there in real time. It's just amazing how all of that is happening. But this, once again, we're talking about revolutions after revolutions after revolutions. This changes everything again. Why? Because all of those medias that you've been working on, all of those things that's happening, suddenly changes again. First of all, you know what? At whatever hour of day or night, wherever I am, people will call me here. People will call me here. Why? Because I got this on myself all the time. This is a computer. This is a computer. It's almost as powerful as pretty much any computer I got at home. And it's portable. And it's in my pocket. So I put it in my pocket and hey, I go. Here I go. Anywhere. Once again, revolution, how we communicate with each other. Now, hey, I remember in the 80s, my friend is going to call me. So here's the phone, and I'm just like, he's going to call, is she going to call? No more. Imagine teenagers again today, thinking that, well, you're not going to get a call anywhere you are. You have to wait at home to get a call from your friend. Oh yeah, and you know, it would give time. I remember I would give a time slot to my friend. I would tell them, hey, 1 p.m. every day. If you want to call me at 1 p.m. every day. Because that's the time I'd be at home. And if at like 1:15, 1:20, nobody called, bye, I would go and play or do something. Now, calls you here, and it's like, you know, this weekend I was at a festival downtown. No, last week, sorry. Last week it was festival downtown. And somebody calls me and it's like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm at the You'll Eat Festival, which is a food festival that was happening here downtown. Oh, cool. Where are you? All right, come over. Come and join me. Call me when you're here. We'll meet somewhere. You know, that's another way that it changes amazingly how everything happened. Suddenly, we are connected to our world. We're not only giving our opinions, we're not only giving, our own knowing what's happening everywhere. We now know it from anywhere else but home. Now, if we want, we can just never be at home, and we still know what's happening. And not only that, we can still tell everybody what we think about it. So this is another amazing thing that's happening. Is that now we're mobile with our technology. We're communicating everywhere. Now I can show you the plate of food I have at the restaurant. I can show you, hey, look at the lake. I'm at this resort. Hey, look at the hotel. It's so cool. Everybody knows where you are, what you think, and anyone that wants to talk to you can do so in real time. Once again, almost everywhere you are. Pretty amazing. And it's just, astonishing. It's far beyond astonishing, If when I got my Commodore VIC-20, I was 13 years old. I was 13 years old. Somebody would have told me you're going to have this someday, and you'll go everywhere, and you'll go on the internet and play games and do whatever you want, and I would probably told that person, you're nuts. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. Incredible. And that's another way. Everything has changed again. How people communicate today has changed. You know what? Text messaging. Another amazing thing. You know what? What has been changed in the last 10 years? We gone from people that call each other to know how they are, to see what we're going to do together. And we're now a society that doesn't want to talk to each other. We want to type to each other. SMS, text messaging. Everybody's got that on their phone. You know what? It's the number one item on every phone. People don't want to know how many, they don't want to know how many minutes they have talking to somebody. They don't care about that. What they want to have is unlimited text messaging, because that's all they do now. Now you're texting your friends. I'm that. You know what? I'm 47 and I'm there. I'm not going to call my nephew. I'm not going to call my friends. I'm going to text my friends, what are you doing? And where do we meet? Incredible. Another change in technology. We're stopped talking. In a way, it's kind of a regression. Instead of voicing with our, instead of talking, voicing what we think, what we want to say to someone, we're now texting it. And we're even using these atrocious and bad abbreviations in our text to even make sure that, you know what, the text is not going to be this long, this short, but we know what we want to say. You know, in some ways, sometimes I think it's kind of putting a kind of a stupid way of saying things, of doing things. We're kind of dumbed down a little bit. You know, it's interesting to see that we're so advanced and we're advancing so much with all of this technology, but at the same time, in communications, there's kind of a regression where we're kind of dumbed down suddenly in the way we talk and the way we say things. No more voicing. Let's text. You know, it's as if I would do this show entirely by texting everybody that's watching me right now. Incredible, but that's where we are. Where is it going to change? I don't know. I don't know. Facebook Messenger, another change. You know, we didn't have enough of Facebook where on our wall we can annoy everybody with what we think. On our wall we can annoy everybody with what we do. Now we can annoy the people live in real time, and this is a revolution again. You know what? I either text message somebody or Facebook message somebody. But I gotta say, if I think about friends and family, I don't call anymore. I don't voice anymore. We're talking through here because that's how we're connected, and you know, and through Facebook we know when we're online, because everybody on Facebook knows, oh, that person's there, so I can now talk to him or her. It's just the way we are now. So what's the future of all of that? What do you guys think about that? You know, it'd be interesting to see what you guys think about the future of all of this technology. What do you think? How do you think we're going to communicate in the future? We are at a point now where we're communicating, you know, more than ever. Everybody knows what we think more than ever. I do these live shows more than ever. One thing that I know is that, you know, that in the, I remember in the 70s, 80s, one day we're going to have video calls. And people are going to do video calling. Well, we got Skype. Skype does that. But you know what? The more we see it, the more you see that people don't want to see everybody's face. I don't want people to see my face, and I don't want the other one to show his or her face. We're texting. So I don't think the future is, hey, we're going to talk face to face, because obviously those that want to do that do it already in Skype, which is another cool way of communicating, by the way, that I haven't had it here, but Skype calling around the world. And you know what? It's like being next to that person live, and we see each other. That's another thing that I forgot to add here, but is amazing. What is the future of communications? How will we communicate in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? What are your thoughts about this? I'd like to have your ideas of that in some comments in this below this video. I think that's going to be an interesting subject to talk about. So hey guys, I filled up an hour blabbing about social media and technology, how it changed the world, how everything is different. Hey, this show is with subjects that are from what you think. That's you telling me what I'm going to talk about every week. So please send me subjects. Any subjects that you think is going to be worthwhile, and we'll spend time thinking about that technology. Next week, the subject we have is an interesting one. How does little bits of data on the internet come from one point to the other? How does it work when I type google.com and that I get that on my screen? What's the inner process behind it? When I do some live YouTube videos, how is all that handled and going everywhere? I think you guys are going to be amazed at how the inner workings of the internet Because, we all see, oh, the internet does that. But the inner workings of the internet, kind of very amazing. And I think it's going to be a great subject. And that one I'm working on much more because there's a lot of stuff. And it's really interesting. So, hey guys and girls, thanks for being here. Remember our live show where we answer your questions every Tuesdays from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, East Coast, North America, 1900 hours UTC, 8 p.m. UK, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Learn the Tech, where we have a subject chosen by you. And that's a 1-hour show. We talk about a subject in particular. And you know what? Have a nice week, everybody. And for those that wonder, I have other shows. If you're ever interested, we have a few from my Windows channel that go there. I also have a radio channel talking about shortwave radio, amateur radio, scanner radio, or what people call police scanners. We have live shows there. They're on a different channel. If you ever want to know more about it, please. If you like our shows, patreon.com/radioincomputers, where you can pledge for our live shows. PayPal at my email address that you see on different videos. Just go and check it out. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye for this Tuesday. It's already over. Incredible. Every morning I wake up on Tuesdays. I'm like, hey, it's live show day. And what do you know? It's over. So take care, everyone. Always fun to do these shows. Hope you enjoy them. See you next week for the live shows. Bye-bye.